Hello and welcome back to my 100% walkthrough of Elden Ring by Level Up Pub Gaming. So, in the last episode we went through Southern and Northern Caelid, grabbing map fragments and graces, and a couple of good items and stuff like that, but I mentioned that in the last episode I was going to show you the field in which we are going to farm for runes. So, we have now reached an area where it's a good place to level up and get runes for buying supplies and upgrading weapons and things like that. So we're going to go ahead, we're at this grace right next to the bridge. I'll show you which grace as soon as we stand back up, but go ahead and make it nightfall. Always want to make sure it's nighttime when we go around this field up here. I'll tell you why in a second. But we are right here at the Farm Great Bridge in Northern Caelid. We're going to go right around inside this field and take out all the vulgar militiamen. And the way we're going to do it is by sneaking up on them. So there's two over here real quick. So we're going to sneak up on them. There's one guy over here. And we do not want to fight these guys. You do not want to fight them. They will tear us to shreds. If this guy gets one hit off on me, I'm most likely dead. It's not me. It's not good. And I gotta fight him. Oh, see how much damage that did? Start. So let's go ahead and just keep hitting him. Don't give him a chance to get up or move. Well, he dropped 1,094 runes, and that's the reason that we're coming up here to farm these guys, is each one is worth almost 1,100 runes. So we take out 10, that's 10, almost 11,000 runes right there. But this is what you want to do. You want to sneak up behind them, and we're hoping this guy drops his saw, actually. It's a very good halberd. Give them a critical, and then as soon as they stand back up, just start letting them have it. Don't give them a chance to stagger them. And just go ahead and keep whacking them until they're down. So there's two up here. Go ahead and grab those guys real quick. And we're going to start grabbing these erdleaf flowers. The faded erdleaf flowers that you see. We're going to be selling a bunch of those. Before long, we will be completely maxed out, both in our inventory and our chest with these erdleaf flowers from how much farming we're going to be doing in this area throughout the game. So go ahead and hop off your horse and sneak up to this one. Now this guy's weapon is not available. Everybody wants this weapon that he has. It's like a chain ball with a mace hanging out the end of it. Unfortunately, these guys don't drop them. You get two different weapons from these guys. They're both halberds. One has blood loss, and that's the one that we're hoping to get. We're going to be using that one, because that is an awesome halberd. This is the other halberd that they drop, so it's got decent damage, skills with dexterity, but it doesn't have any blood loss. So at nighttime, these guys' vision are just absolutely nothing. They have no vision whatsoever, and it's pretty insane how close you can get to them without them seeing you. But during the daytime, their vision is increased dramatically. So come up over here. Get this guy, and they're spread out evenly enough that we can take them on one at a time. There's a couple of them that are grouped together. We're going to stay away from those ones, but the rest of them are all spread out enough that we can go ahead and fight them and take them down, and the other ones won't aggro on us. So we take that one down. We're going to come back down this field here. We'll come back down, but let's going to go up to the top real quick. There's also some birds that I'm going to take down to get their feathers. We're going to get a lot of feathers from doing this route that I've been doing for a while. So there's another one over here. So crouch and sneak up behind him. Give him a nice repost. And look at that, we're almost at 9,000 runes already. We're not even halfway done with the field. And so whether you're a dexterity build or strength build, you will get lots of use out of this Bloodhound Fang Sword. Highly recommend you use it for a while. If not the entire game. I beat the entire game with this sword. Well, I shouldn't say the entire game, but went through the majority of it with it. And this sword will just make your life so much easier. And I'm not reposting them to save time, because, you know, it just takes longer to do that. So I'm going to see if I can hit all these guys at once with the... Yep, there we go. Get their feathers. Alright. So you have to very carefully get those feathers. And come up here. Grab these leaves and we're going to head back down the field. And you want to grab every toxic mushroom that you found. That's what I grabbed right here. We need toxic mushrooms to make poison pots, so very, very important to pick up every single one you see. And of course, you know, you see any deer, go ahead and take them out for their bones. One of these guys, eventually we're going to have more of these saws than we know what to do with, but that's the halberd, the one that this guy's holding that we want to get. But we will get so much armor and weapons from these guys, we're just going to be selling it all. Because like I said, we're gonna do this probably close to, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred times throughout the entire walkthrough. Not the entire field. We're just gonna be coming here when we're like 4,000 or 5,000 away from a level up or something. We got to go through a new area or fight a boss. And jet over here, take out 5 or 6 of these guys, level up. Maybe go buy a couple of stones if we need to, and then we will continue on. But this is the first place where you can really go to level up and collect runes. Because it's just, yeah, it's an absurd amount. By the time we're done clearing the field, we'll have like 20, maybe 22,000 runes. Starlight Shard here. Oh no. See, look at how close I was to him, and he actually did not see me. So, I mean, look at how close I am, and he has no idea I'm here. So that's why you want to make it nighttime, because these guys have really bad vision. So it makes it much, much easier to hunt them down. This guy better drop me his swords. Halberd. Give me your halberd. Nope, no luck. It's alright, there's about 4 or 5 more that have the halberd. And at nighttime, you're going to see a lot of glowing skulls. You can see there's 2 of them right next to us. So yeah, it's just an awesome place to farm for runes. And so just to show you where we've been, we started right here, came up, took out a few that were on the edge, and then we literally worked all the way up. That's where the birds were, and now we worked all the way back down, so this entire side is cleared. We're going to go up the road to the top, and we're going to work our way down, and then back down to the Grace. So, halfway done with the field already. And then after that, we will go and upgrade our weapons for the first time, show you guys how to do that, and then we will start clearing out caves. Let's go ahead and don't worry about the bird. The bird cannot see us from this distance. We have to walk past those rocks and past that big branch right there in order for him to see us. So do not be scared. I know it's freaky because he's sitting there staring at us. Don't worry, he's not going to see us from down here. So go ahead and go up and take this guy out. Be a little bit careful because there's 2 of them together over there. So you don't want to go too far in that direction because they'll see us, and we do not want to fight more than one of these guys at a time. Ever. Even like when we're at a much higher level. Oh well, they're spread apart, so actually maybe we can take them out one at a time. Let's see what we can do. Get this guy first. So normally the other 2 on my right are right next to each other. And even when you're at a higher level, it's still very, very dangerous to fight these guys more than one at a time. But luckily they are grouped out enough that we can go ahead on up and take this one out. See, his friend is too far away to hear and see it, so go ahead and let him have the what fur. Oh, his friend heard us, but he can't see us. As long as we're crouching, he just can't see us, and he can't hear us as we walk up behind him. So you see that weapon he has, got a ball and chain and a little scythe. That's not available. Everybody wanted that weapon, but I farmed, oh man, probably around like 10,000 of these guys, and never once has he dropped his weapon. So, but they do drop kukris, which is awesome. You're gonna get a bunch of kukris, the knives with blood loss from these guys, which is very, very good. Very awesome place to get kukris. This guy have a saw? Oh no, it's a shodol. So the one with the little moon crest on it is a shodol. And you see how it's covered in fire? That doesn't happen. The weapon art doesn't have that, so it's only their ability that does that, because a lot of people are like, man, can I be able to get the blood flame that they have on it? It's like, no, unfortunately you can't. So up in the corner near where that bird is over there, there's 2 or 3 grouped together that we do not want to fight, so we're just going to leave those guys and come down here to 2 that are spread out. I think this guy has a saw. Oh, good lord. He has a shovel. So we can't get this halberd. decent enough. It's just the other halberd has blood loss, which is why it's better. What we got? Oh, we got his... I actually don't mind their... the way their armor looks. I think it looks kind of cool. It's a little ragged and kind of... I think it looks nice, but I do like the way this aristocrat coat looks right now, so... I'm going to keep that until we find some... There's a couple of different armor sets that if I get, I'm going to switch to them because I like the way they look. And I'm being dead honest, there are a few armor sets that boost up your defense and stuff, and they boost your poise really high, but for the most part, armor in this game is really just for fashion. You don't go to new towns and buy higher armor sets like you do in every RPG, or JRPG, you should say, and, you know, for PlayStation and all that stuff. Any RPGs like that, you know, you normally go to a new town, you buy new gear, it's always better, you sell your old gear. That's not how it is in this game. All the armor, you keep every set that you get. If you get multiples, you can go ahead and sell it, but keep one of each. And it's really just for fashion. Like I said, there's some armor that can buff up your defense and whatnot, but for the most part, you're still going to die in 2 or 3 hits. Especially when fighting a boss. So, armor is really just for looking how you want to look. Which took me a while to get used to, but after a while, it was kind of like, that's actually kind of nice, not having to worry about upgrading your armor and stuff like that. You just got to worry about learning patterns and figuring out what you can do to the bosses and how to get things done. It's kind of an interesting way. I've never played a game like this before, so it'll take you a while too to realize that, yep, I don't have to upgrade anything. Hopefully this guy drops us his halberd. Give me your halberd. I want it. Give me your halberd, please. Oh. And there's one more up here. So make sure you're using target lock as you're going through this field so that you can see where these guys are. So you do not want to accidentally walk into one of their paths. They will tool you up. They do blood loss. They have flame attacks that will set you on fire and you'll take continuous damage for a few seconds, and then they just yeah, they're ruthless. Like 1 or 2 hits and you are dead. And also they have a critical attack where they'll jump up onto your shoulder and stab you in the neck, and you'll die in 1 hit at this level. So come up over here, and there is a somber smithing stone 8 or 9, one of the 2. So we're gonna go ahead and sneak up on the ball, and we're gonna give it a bloodhound's finesse right into this wall right here, so it can't run away. Staggered it. Just keep whacking. There's another stagger. Oh, sometimes you hit it and it gets knocked away from you. This one might be a bomb. Nope, okay, it's not. And it's a somber smithing stone 9. And then there could be some more foliage over here. Nope, that was wrong. Alright, and so that little pathing right there, I'm going to do that, you know, multiple times throughout this playthrough, and you will eventually get used to it and you'll see it. Go ahead and do it too. And once you get it down, that's how you're going to level up when you need to. When you need some extra runes, you're short and you don't have any gold runes to crack or sell, then yep, you just head on down here. So now we are going to go over to the merchant. It is in northern Caelid. And it's nighttime, so I gotta be careful. See? He's gone. So if I walked over to him, a boss would spawn right now. And we do not want to fight this boss. This boss is one of the harder bosses in the game. So we're going to sit down and make it morning time. First, okay, we can do, I'm just going to do 1 level up. So, trying to remember, I'm trying to get dexterity up to 20 as soon as I can, so go ahead and put that at 18. And then once dexterity is at 20, I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. I'm just going to leave it right where it is, and then I can start focusing back on strength, faith, endurance, vigor, and mind, which mind is the last thing. We're going to try and get mind up to 100 pretty soon here, because we're going to get a Spirit Ash summon that costs 100 to cast, and we really want to be able to cast it. So, gonna go ahead and get dexterity up to 20, just so I don't have to worry about it anymore. So, next 2 levels will go to dexterity. Then, what? He's still gone? Come on, man, come back. There you are. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong merchant. Which actually, we need to go down to Merchant Kale, because we need this, whatchamacallit, smithing table. So my apologies, but we're going to go back to that merchant to spend whatever we have left on poison arrows. With the smithing menu, you can spend runes and smithing stones to strengthen your armaments. You can strengthen your armaments up to +3 at a smithing table. Somewhere in the lands between, you may meet a blacksmith who can make your armaments even stronger, which we will. So at this table, we can take anything up to level 3. So there's 2 types of smithing stones. There's regular smithing stones, and then there's somber smithing stones. The somber smithing stones are usually for special weapons. So you see this dagger is just a regular old dagger, and then this weapon is a weapon with like lore behind it. We had to fight a boss to get it. It's incredibly good. It can't change the Ash of War because it has its own ability built into it. So it's a weapon that's a little bit more important. You only get one of them. If you want to get another one, you have to beat the entire game and do New Game Plus, or have somebody drop you one. You cannot find another one of these in the game. So because of that, it's a special weapon, and it requires somber smithing stones. Now, the cool part about that is, as I said before, somber smithing stones only go up to 10. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you find an ancient somber dragon smithing stone, and that will take it to level 10. And level 10 is the max for any weapon that requires a somber smithing stone. So we have somber smithing stones 1 and 2 right now. So we can go ahead and give our Bloodhound's Fang a level up. As you can see here, it'll change when it's just saying it's going from D to D and C to C, but it's blue. It's actually hiring in what it'll scale. So as you can see here, it'll increase from 54 to 67. That's because even though it's still a C grade, it's still 1 up a little bit. And that means that the higher our dexterity and the higher our strength, the more damage we will add to what it already has for its base damage. And then also upgrading it will bring up the base damage along with it. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade this. We got Somber Smithing Stones 2. And then we stop right here because we don't have any Somber Smithing Stones 3 yet. We're going to find those in the next few episodes. You don't have to worry about upgrading your shields. Upgrading your shields does nothing for its physical block, or its block of any kind. What upgrading your shields is for is there are a few Ashes of War and a few shields that you can bash. They have Shield Bash, Shield Crash, and you can actually attack with a shield. But as you can see, it doesn't do very much damage. In order to attack with the shield, you, I think, have to two-hand it anyways. So it's pretty pointless unless you're just trying to do it for a challenge. Later on in the game, we'll be able to parry spells. And when those spells are parried, it turns it into other spells that we shoot back at our enemies. That is what you want to upgrade your shield for. Because when you shoot back those spells, the higher your shield is upgraded, the more damage it'll do. But we're not going to have that for a very long time, so do not upgrade a single shield. It doesn't do anything for what it does for blocking. So this shield, it's at base, it'll still block 100% physical damage. If we upgrade it to plus 25, it will still just block 100% physical damage, and all the other magic, the 47, 53, 35, all that remains the same, and so does the guard boost. So upgrading it does nothing for the actual defense, it's only for the offense, and since we're not going to be parrying any spells or shield bashing anybody anytime soon, don't worry about upgrading your shields. Don't worry about upgrading the torches, and do not worry about upgrading the bows. You might want to upgrade your staff and your seals if you're started with a faith or a intelligence build. You don't need to worry about getting it too high. With intelligence, as I said in the previous episode, and with faith, most of your damage is going to come from raising your attack attribute. So raising your intelligence and raising your faith, that will cause the incant scaling to raise to whatever your current attribute is at. So the higher your attribute for faith or intelligence is, then the higher this incant scaling goes. And then that will do more damage. So literally when it says physical 331 plus 5, I can two-hand this and punch somebody with it. And that's what it's saying with its damage. But if you want to know like how much damage are the spells doing, it actually doesn't tell you. It'll just tell you the incant scaling, saying this scales this high. And then these are the attributes that change that incant scaling. So the higher my strength and faith is with this seal, the higher my incant scaling, and thus the higher damage my spells will do. Same thing with staffs. So when you're upgrading it to raise the sorcery scaling. You're not upgrading it to raise the physical damage at all. And see, it goes from C to B. So that means that the higher my intelligence is, the better this will scale. And then the more damage my spells will do. So you don't really have to worry about upgrading for a staff right now. With seals, we're not going to be using incantations anytime soon, so I'm going to hold off on upgrading this, but this is the seal that I will be upgrading so that we can do some dirty damage with our incantations later. But for staff users, you don't have to upgrade anything right now because you're using the meteorite staff. And that meteorite staff already has an S scaling for intelligence, which means that even starting out at a beginning level, it's going to scale higher on your sorcery scaling than any staff that you're going to have for a very long time. You're going to have to upgrade a staff to like, I think plus 14 or 15 or plus 7 or 8 on the somber side in order to get it higher than what the meteorite staff is going to give you all through the first half of the game. So if you followed my guide in the last few episodes, then we went to the ruins and got the meteorite staff over at, let me show you real quick, right over here, just in case you didn't get it. Go into Caelid and go down to the Street of Sage Ruins. So it's from the Smoldering Raw. You just come down here, or it's right next to this merchant. Come down here into the swamp, and then go down into the cellar to get the meteorite spell. And then on the side, inside a small tiny room, there's a bunch of flowers guarding the meteorite staff. So you definitely want to go get that because you can't upgrade the meteorite staff. As you can see, it wasn't an option at the table, and it said it in the right here. So, and that's because it already has an S scaling, which is the highest possible scaling. So it's pretty much like it's already upgraded to like plus 15. But you can't upgrade this. But as you can see, like this says sorcery scaling 109, and this only has 60, and that's because my intelligence is 10. If I had the 18 intelligence to be able to use this, the sorcery scaling would be somewhere around like 130 or 140 maybe. So yeah, it's the best staff that you can use starting out. And we're not going to upgrade the bows because the bow's damage comes from the amount of arrows you shoot, not how powerful the arrows are. We will get great bows in the game. Those you want to upgrade for damage for each arrow. But for this, since it's barrage is our special that we can just shoot the arrows really fast, it's more about proccing status effects, and we're not really using the bows to really take any enemies down. We're using it just to kind of manipulate them. So we're not going to upgrade the bows anytime soon. The only thing that I'm going to focus on upgrading was this that I'm going to use, and this mace right here, because we're going to be using it for parry battles. So we want it to do some good damage. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it to plus 3. Armament cannot be strengthened any further at the smithing table. So as you can see right there, the last level up to plus 3 took 6. So I forgot to mention that for the regular side of smithing stones, you see that says smithing stone 1, not somber smithing stone. So smithing stone 1 goes from 1 to 8, I believe. Yes, 1 to 8. And each smithing stone takes you up 3 levels. In order to get up those 3 levels, you need 12 of any type of smithing stone, because 2 for the first level, first upgrade, 4 for the second, and then 6, as you see right there, for the third. Then it's going to go up to the next smithing stone tier. So starting out, smithing stone 1, in order to upgrade it 1 level, you need 2 smithing stones. To upgrade it to the second level, you need 4. Upgrade it to the third, you need 6. That's 12 total. Then you're going to move up to the second tier. So smithing stone 2. And then you're going to need 12 of those. 2 for the first upgrade, 4 for the second, 6 for the third. And then you move up to the next tier. Smithing stone 3s. And so on and so forth until you get to plus 24. Once you get to plus 24, which is why there's only 8 smithing stones in total, then the last level up is to 25, and you need an ancient dragon smithing stone for that. So it's just a same type of ancient dragon smithing stone on the somber side, only it's just a regular ancient dragon smithing stone. And that takes you up to plus 25. And that's why regular weapons like these take a little bit longer to upgrade. But at the same time, they kind of match the somber side's damage. So if you have a weapon that's like plus 5, plus 6 on the somber side, that's equivalent to having a weapon that's like plus 14 to plus 15 on the regular side. So the damages do match. It's not like the somber's much more powerful or, overpowered than the regular side is. It just takes longer to upgrade the regular side because you got to go all the way up to 25, and you got to find many more smithing stones. So that's how we level up. So let's go ahead and upgrade that. So at this table we can't upgrade it anymore. It stops at 3. And I'm going to hold off on upgrading anything else because our smithing stones are rare. Like eventually I'm going to use this twin blade and I'll upgrade it to a decent level. But we're going to hold off because eventually we're going to find items that will allow us to buy smithing stones. Right now we can't buy smithing stones. We have to go find them. But eventually we'll find items that we turn into a merchant at the Round Table Hold, and that will allow us to buy smithing stones. But until then, we're just going to be really scarce with what we upgrade. I just recommend upgrading this Bloodhound's Fang if you have the Somber Smithing Stones, which if you've been following me, you should have up to plus 2 right now, which is plenty. And then upgrade just one other weapon that you've been using that you feel comfortable with. So whether it's that sword, I recommend the mace because we're going to be using it as a weapon. This is too big of a weapon really to fight comfortably against. It's much better to parry and then use a smaller weapon, and especially daggers. We'll find a dagger later that does incredible critical damage. So you see right there it does 130, and my critical damage for this Bloodhound's Fang is only 100. So these daggers actually do have much better critical damage. This only has 100, but the blood loss is going to help a lot. So that's the reason I upgraded it to 3. We're actually going to be using it this episode. So let's go ahead and buy a few daggers.
Always.
Oh, forgot to talk about Blythe, so we get a little bit of dialogue here.
Then you met Blythe, did you? Wonderful. I'm glad I pointed you in his direction. He's boorish, blunt, and couldn't find his nose with both hands. But he's a good egg. I think the two of you are sure to find the best in one another.
It's pretty cool. Alright. Let's see if we got anything to sell him real quick. I think, oh yeah. Gonna get rid of these raisins. Absolutely pointless. As you go through the game, you'll realize that you do not need to feed Torrent whatsoever, so 100% pointless to do that. Yeah, we got 10 of these. We got 7, 9. So I'm gonna start selling these because we're just it's disturbing how many we're gonna get throughout the game. So just start getting rid of your faded Erdleaf flowers and using it to buy items. So I'm not gonna try and spend all of it on these, but we will buy. Let's say 20. We'll buy 20 arrows. And then we are going to go back and buy poison arrows. Well, kind of want to buy a few kukri actually, so I'm going to go down to this merchant down here, buy a few kukris. But we're going to find lots of kukris from farming those vulgar militiamen. They drop a bunch.
Trade again.
But this guy sells them. Oh, he also has some smithing stones we want to get, so forgot about that. Alright. I am tempted to buy this scale armor, but I think I'll do that off recording, so I'll buy 14 of these. And for the first few caves, we're still going to be using bone darts and bone arrows because we're still just building up our repertoire for these daggers and stuff like that we're buying, and poison arrows. We're saving them for much more difficult caves later on in the game. But it's good to start building up the inventory as soon as possible.
Back all unusual this.
Okay. Oh, we want to get this ritual pot actually. So this is awesome. This duplicates Ashes of War. So if you have an Ash of War you like the Flame of Red mains that we have, there's only one in the game, so you can duplicate it to put it on different weapons and stuff like that. So this is a pretty good fist weapon. Has blood loss on it, but yeah, we're gonna buy all this stuff later when we just have more runes than we know what to do with. But until then, I'm literally going to spend every last dime on poison arrows and arrows. Alrighty. Alright guys, we are ready to get into caves. Let's do it. So, we're going to start off and we're just going to work our way down the map. I'm not sure how far into this I'm going to get. My goal is to get down to the boss in this Evergaol, but starting off, we're going to go to the Highroad cave, which is a bit of a long cave, but the boss isn't too difficult, which is why I want us to start here. Alright. Now that we're here, we turn on our lantern, which we will desperately need. We got a lot of bats in this cave. So go on, drop down on here, very gingerly, so you don't fall all the way down, take any damage. And then just roll on down on in. Come grab this. This is actually an item, cave moss, that we'll need for making items later. And we got some wolves in here, so if we walk right out, you know, a bunch of wolves are going to come run out of the corners, so let's try and aggro this guy towards us. We can fight him. Whoa, that did a lot of damage. Oh, okay. I guess you could just use the bone darts to take him out. There should be some in there. Yep. Let's go ahead and target lock onto it and just send some bone darts their way. I can hear one. Oh, there he is. Down over here, I believe there is. Ooh, actually, I should. Yeah, there's. Okay, so this is a trap. As you can see, there's a wolf hiding in the bush. So that's why we got the bone darts. Just gonna go ahead and lure them out so we don't get ambushed. And that's the Bloodhound Finesse, the weapon art. I'm so sorry. Please rest in peace. So go ahead and target lock just to see if there's any more wolves around. Nope, we're good. So go ahead and grab the goodies. And then come back over here. Grab this cave moss. And so you want to get in the habit of just swinging at walls, because sometimes there's invisible walls and stuff and secret passages, but now we've cleared everything out in here. We're going to go ahead and drop on down to the next part of the cave. And so this is why you want to be careful dropping down here, because if you drop down, miss the ledge or something like that, then you will drop all the way down, take damage, and or die. And the way the fall damage works in this game, I should probably explain this real quick, is you are given a certain amount of time to touch the ground. It does not matter what your health is at. It does not matter what kind of buffs or defense you have on. If you do not reach the ground in that amount of time, you will die. And so, fall damage, you're going to get a couple of talismans and a couple of items that say they reduce fall damage, and people think that makes you invincible and you can jump from high heights. That's not what it means. What it means is there is just a small area right between taking no damage and dying where you will take some damage. Those items and talismans reduce that damage, but it does not keep you from dying from a height that was too long for you to live. That will trigger the death animation. So dropping down here on this ledge is okay, but if I drop down further, I might have taken some damage and or died, depending on whether or not it was too much time in the air. So come on down here first, and we got a little cave full of... can't remember. I think it's... trying to remember what's in here. I think it's more wolves. Yeah, okay. Just keep target locking. I think there's a wolf in here. Or maybe not. Yes, okay, I think this is the way we're supposed to go. Should be a wolf right here. Wolves in here. So we're gonna go back, actually. Yeah, okay, this is the way we're supposed to go, so my bad. Oop. Oh, that's a big one over there. Okay, yeah, so we want to come over here and take these dogs down because we're about to go upwards. Hey, sorry, man. We're about to go upwards to this ledge up there to get that item. So we come back down here because it's a trap. If you jump down, those dogs are all hidden in bushes and stuff. So go ahead and take them out so that we can just jump down right off that ledge and not get attacked. And we're going to come back up here. Actually, yeah, okay. So we're going to come back up here. This will lead us around into where this item is. And there's a dog right here, so be careful. So stuff like in areas like this, you want to get used to checking because there might be a hidden wall, and they pop up in some of the weirdest places. But I think I got all of them, so I should be able to get you guys all the secrets in here. So this is a Stake America, so we're halfway through the cave, but we got to go through this area and do a little bit of platforming, and there's a lot of bats waiting in the shadows to attack us. So we're gonna pull out our bow and arrow, and we're gonna do a little bat hunting real quick before we actually move in. Let's go ahead and lock in and barrage them. Oh, didn't reach him. Oh, let's try putting on the... Let's go ahead and take this off and put on the arrow reach talisman so it increases the reach. Now I'll be able to reach them. Or not. That was close. There we go. So, the reason I wasn't able to reach them is because I'm using arrows that do not have feathers on them. The bone darts do not go as far. As you can tell, I used this instead, and I was able to hit them all of a sudden. So I'm going to go ahead and craft just some regular arrows with some feathers on them. So we'll just need about 50. And we'll switch that so we can save the fire arrows for enemies that don't like fire. And we'll go ahead and should be able to hit them. Yep, there we go. Down. And the barrage does take your FP, so just keep that in mind. So if you want to, you can zoom in and you can just kind of manually aim, and if headshots do more damage, so it's always better to aim for the head. Alright, that one's down. There's one up here. Go ahead and aim for his head. Got him. Got him. Should be one right. Where is he? I think that's a squid. There's an octopus down there, I think. There should be a bat along these edges over here. Oh, there he is. Okay. So we can just go ahead and barrage this one. There we go. And he's down. And there are some bats waiting for us over here, too. Let's go ahead and we'll try and barrage him. Alright, that one's down. Because they will just swarm up on you as soon as you jump down on these ledges, so it's better to just take them out right now. Go ahead and just keep doing target lock to see if there's anybody else. You should explain something about target lock. It will spin the camera around to whichever direction your character is facing, like that. So if there is no enemy in front of me, so there's a bat right there. So because he's in front of me, I can lock onto him. But if I'm facing this way, even though the camera is facing the bat, oh, that's weird. Normally, sometimes, even though the camera is, so you see the enemy there, but even though the enemy kind of seems like it's in frame, sometimes it will still spin around, and you think like it happens in the middle of battle, and you'll be thinking like, why is the camera freaking out on me? And it's because you're trying to lock onto an enemy, but your character is facing a different direction. And then you go to lock on, and instead of locking on, it'll spin you around like this, and then the enemy will come in from the side and hit you. So you just need to be wary about that. You need to have not only the camera facing the enemy, but the character as well in order for the lock on to actually work. So just wanted to mention that real quick. Go ahead and take him down, and we're safe to jump down at this point. Go ahead and restore my FP because I used a bunch. Go grab this item real quick. Always use smithing stones. Smithing stones are always welcome. And down here, we're going to get ambushed as soon as we jump down, I believe. I think that was all the bats. I thought I saw a bat wing flying around, but I think that was just my sword. Okay. Let's come on down here, and we're going to get ambushed as soon as we come in right here. I wonder if we can see the enemy. Nope, you see I'm trying to lock onto him, but even though the bat is right there, I can see him hanging in the middle of that archway. Oh, there we go, got the lock on. But before that, it just spun around like that, see? So sometimes it's tricky, but as soon as we jump down, just go ahead and swing. There we go. Okay, now we gotta go down this way to continue on, but before we do, we're gonna come up in here, grab a boots. Oh, man, I don't have that one. Oh, I was going to write a message, but I forgot I don't have the gesture that I want to use. I'll try something else. Time for... Might have to write this again. I might have been too far in. We'll see how this looks. Oh, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to turn this message around. That's pretty much right, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go a little bit forward. Okay, that's good. So, just writing this just for fun. I did it in a different waterfall, and a lot of people liked it, so I'm just going to write it again. And so now when people come up and see this message, it'll look like my character is taking a shower. Ah, tranquility. Time for comfort. Sorry about that. Just having a little bit of fun. Let's put my armor and stuff back on and get back to it. And I believe we're done with bats. We don't need the bow anymore, so we're good on that. Now we just need to platform down carefully so that we do not die. So this is a little bit freaky because you can't really see what's down there, but there is a ledge down there to land on. You can see the messages right there. So it looks freaky because you might fall into the water, but you are safe to just kind of edge your way off and fall on down. So, over there is nothing. Over here, there should be nothing as well. Yeah. So, over there is nothing. So, what you gotta do is you gotta jump over onto this thing. So, you gotta run to make the jump. Just jump up onto here, and jump up where these bats are. This is a curved sword. So, if you've been looking for a second curved sword, now you got one. So, now you can dual wield curved swords. And now we gotta gingerly platform over to here. And then carefully jump over to here. Should be a squid, yeah. This guy right there. And give him the what fur. Can't remember. I think there's rats up here. Oh, there's something up here. Oh, octopus. Okay. I'm gonna see. The Bloodhound's Fang doesn't do that well in stagger damage. It's more for because it's slash, so it's not going to stagger this guy as well, I don't think, but we'll give it a shot. Oops, did not mean to do that. Yeah, okay, it does pretty good. It did a lot of damage too, wow. Whoa! Man, this sword is just too good. So I'm telling you guys, this sword is just no joke. Brutal, brutal, brutal damage. Come on over here. And this will lead us over to the edge where there's an item that's back in the same room right here. The boss is down that way, but before we do that, I think there was something else over here. Yeah, I'm on my way. So we came in through there. Oh, no, okay, that was just a wall. Just double checking. Alright, so now we're going to hop on down to the boss. And you've seen these bosses before because we've fought a couple of them, going around getting stuff. So, it's going to seem a little freaky again, but we can go ahead and jump down onto here. Come on now into here. There's some silver fireflies to pick up over here. Alright, so you've seen this boss before because we fought in them. Usually they're in the ground and they stand up really slow, so this one's no different. He's going to be laying on his side. He's going to get up. We're going to run up, give him 2 charged attacks to his feet. He's going to drop down. We're going to give him a critical in the stomach. He might survive that, and we have to do it again and dodge a few of his slams into the ground, but it's just a golem. The stone golems that you've seen, so let's go ahead and eat a pickled turtleneck. Keep our stamina up, drink our flask. Give ourselves a buff with Golden Vow. And then drink our flasks. Two-hand our sword. Let's go kick some butt. So, on his feet. Give him one more. So that, if he pulled it out there, that has a little shockwave on it, so be careful with that. As far as he hasn't staggered yet. There it is. So this guy takes a little bit more to stagger, you know, because he's the boss, so go ahead and hit him once and then repost him. Dang! 4,000, man. And before that, we get the Talisman Blue Dancer Charm, which is an actually awesome talisman for light loads and people that are just fighting with one weapon and no armor. Awesome, awesome talisman. So that's our first cave down. And once you defeat it, there is a little blue light here that'll take you to the entrance. But then also, once you defeat the cave, you are now free to teleport out. So I don't think we're anywhere near a level up. Yep. So I also wanted to mention, it may seem like in the first few episodes that we were just doing a bunch of leveling up, like an absurd amount, to the point where it's like, dude, are we like over leveled for this area? A little bit. We are a little bit over leveled, but not so much that, as you can see, like took a few hits to take down this boss, so it can still be a challenge. But I also want to mention that, as you can see here, we're nowhere near a level up anymore, and it's actually going to get to the point where instead of just like in the beginning just traveling between caves, we would get enough runes for a level up. It gets to the point where we have to take out like 2 or 3 bosses in 2 or 3 dungeons just to get enough runes for 1 level up. So the frequency with which we level up is going to decrease significantly as we go through the game. And it's going to be less of like, hey, leveling up like 5 levels here and 2 levels there. It's just going to be 1 level every once in a while. So I promise you, we're not going to be too strong or stronger than the game requires. We're at a very good level for what we're going to be doing. So do not worry about that. But we're going to go ahead and teleport on over to the next Catacombs, Deathtouch Catacombs. Excuse me 1 sec. Okie dokie. Sorry about that. So, we need holy damage in this one. The Bloodhound's Fang is still going to help. It's going to tear apart the skeletons in it. But if you don't have the Bloodhound's Fang or the stat requirements to use it, put on Sacred Blade onto your whatever weapon you're using, if you can. So, I highly recommend so just put Sacred Blade on something. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Bloodhound's Fang. But if you're struggling with the skeletons in here, you do Sacred Blade and you hit them with the beam. It should keep them from reviving. And also the holy damage that's left on your weapon should keep them from reviving. But since I can use the Bloodhound's Fang, I'm going to go ahead and stick with that just to save us some time. So just make sure my flasks are allocated right. That's good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to do. Nope, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and head on in. Let's turn on our lantern. So this is our first Catacombs of the game. You're going to find a lot of root resin sometimes in the rooms near the boss, and this first skeleton's going to pop up here, so go ahead and chop him down. And then, just like all skeletons, you got to give him 1 more hit to get him out, and then another one's going to pop up right here. And we got some more that are going to pop up down here. There should be a couple that are already up, so go ahead and just hit that one. And, oh, you punk. Don't worry about going down there. We're going to come up from that direction. Oh my gosh, got a longbow. That's very fortunate. Grab this Grave Glovewort, and we're going to upgrade our summons. Take this guy down. There's going to be 2 more that are going to pop up in the corner over here. So there's going to be one that pops up behind you as soon as you start fighting the one right here. See? So, it's a trap. Go ahead and take down this one first. Roll away, because he's coming up. Make sure that guy stays down, and make sure he stays down. And let's grab the Grave Glovewort. Which, as soon as we go to the Round Table Hold in the next few episodes, we will be able to upgrade our spirit summons. So there should be another skeleton that pops up in here. That was the weapon art, just in case you were wondering what I just did there. So it's a 1-2 weapon art. You do the first part, and then you press the strong attack to do the second part. So that is what I was doing there, in case you were wondering. Oh. So you come in here, and then come down. Wait, which way did I come? Yeah, I came in this way. So come in over here. And there's going to be some skeletons pop up, so let's take care of them first. Do I have to grab it first? Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and just make sure he doesn't fall down. There we go. And now, he's going to get back up. Go ahead and grab this first. That is a katana. So if you don't have one, it's your first katana in the game. Now we're going to fight a bunch of skeletons as soon as we jump down here. Oh, hit the wrong button. So if you're getting overwhelmed and these skeletons are tooling you up, just break out the Sacred Blade, and that will just, take care of all of them. Man, I don't know why he spawned, so let's go ahead and go in here. So it should be the rest of them for now. Ugh, I can't craft anything while you're in combat, so... There we go. Just had to wait till he de-aggroed, so I'm going to hit him with a Holy Pot. Sorry, guys. Just build 2 of these just in case I miss. And the rest I'm going to make fire pots. Alright, one of these should take him down completely. There we go. And grab this. And so what we've been doing in this Catacombs the entire time is trying to find this lever. So that's what we've been going towards. We're not going towards the boss door like we did in the cave. We're just trying to look for a lever. Every Catacombs has a lever. And then we're going to pull it, and then this message will appear. As well as a bunch of skeletons. Somewhere a heavy door is opened. So now we got to fight our way through some more skeletons before we can get out of here. Just 2 more. Thought there'd be a lot more for some reason. Alright. So, somewhere a heavy door is opened. So now we're just going to head right on back. These are the stairs I said don't worry about going down. We're going to come up from there. So, we're going to head on up. Back towards the Grace. And on the way there, you will see where the door is. That's the door. It's always got a little summoning sign next to it, summoning pool, and it's got 2 skeletons in front of it usually. And since we have cleared out the cave and the boss door is open, you can go ahead and come on up back to the Grace and rest. Now this next boss is pretty aggravating because they're extremely intelligent, they're extremely agile, they have some very tricky dodging patterns that you got to learn, and they're so difficult and they're so challenging that they started this one at half health. I think the developers realized that putting this enemy at the beginning of the game was pretty unfair. So we're going to overwhelm this enemy with the dog, and we're going to be unfair to it. And I'm going to show you later how to fight these enemies fair and square and how to parry them once we get better at parrying. But for the meantime, this enemy is very vicious. Now this one is very timid. It tends to back away and dodge. You will not hit it with any projectile. It'll dodge every projectile you throw at it. And if it gets too close to you, it can grab you and critical you. And if it does that, you're most likely going to die. So as soon as we come in, we're going to summon the dogs. It stands up very slowly, so you have plenty of time to summon the dogs and give them a buff. And then we're going to wait till the dogs jump in on it, and then we'll just start attacking it from behind and stuff like that. So any other way, you're going to have to figure out yourself in the meantime if you want to fight it one-on-one. Because just for saving time, I'm not going to show you how to parry them yet. So let's just go ahead and gang up on this one with the doggos. So go ahead and eat your turtleneck, drink your flask. Like I said, the projectile is pointless, will not hit it. So I'm going to go in, summon the dogs, do the buff, and then switch to my other weapon. Let's go in, summon the dogs, do the buff. So now the dogs are buffed. Bring my weapon out, drink my flask, and there is a Black Knife Assassin at half health. So wait till the dogs come in, start attacking to distract it. Because it's very good. See how it moves around there? How it jumps. Just going to try and show you what it's doing. Give it a swipe, give it another swipe, and it's down. So that's how you need to defeat this one. And you get the Assassin Crimson Dagger, which I'm going to go over all these talismans towards the end of the episode because we're not going to be using any of them anytime soon. So I'll go ahead and read all the description for all that stuff later. So go ahead and grab the root resin, and very importantly, there's a chest here. And that chest is Death Root, the stuff that we gave to the Beast Clergyman in the last episode. So now we got another one, so we can go give it to him and get a new spell. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Take this off because we have cleared out that dungeon. And then I'll showcase for you the katanas in a second. Now, when we give him about 4, maybe 5 of these, he's going to attack us. And all you have to do is hit him 3 times and then you'll stop, but he is vicious and he might actually kill you a few times. But right now we're safe. We're just going to get a incantation from him. So give him a Death Root. we got Bestial Slaying, which is a pretty decent projectile incantation. You just dig your hand into the ground, you throw some rocks at the enemy, and it's a pretty wide arc too, so you can hit multiple enemies at once. Not too bad, so we'll be using that in the future. So next is not going to be, let me think. Yeah, next is not going to be everybody's favorite fight, and it's going to be one that, you know, anybody that's using my guide, especially if you're a beginner gamer, you're going to struggle on this, and it's going to take you a while. So I'm expecting, you know, anybody that's going to be doing this fight is going to be here for a little bit at this part of the episode and stuff like that. So, oh wow, he's already ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go through and clear out this field and take out the wolves and stuff, just so in case we end up backing up. I don't want them getting into the fight too. And then I'm going to, oh, I can't do that. Maybe, here's what I'll do. Yeah, I can, okay. So, I'm going to make it nightfall. And make sure that the guy is gone. Bernal. Yeah, Bernal's gone right now, so that means the boss can spawn in. So, this boss is a knight, and he has 3 parry openings. I'm going to describe them to you very carefully, and I'm going to attach them to a number. And then when I'm fighting him, I'm going to tell you which number that is, and hopefully you remember the description. So I'm not going to go anywhere near the shack right now because it might spawn him. So the first attack I'm going to describe is the one that you're probably going to see the most often. And what he's going to do is he has a sword in one hand, and he has a shield on his back, and he's usually just holding the sword in one hand. It's his right hand. Now what this guy's going to do is he's going to raise that sword over his left shoulder. So just like, you know, like a baseball bat, he's going to raise it up over his left shoulder, and then he's going to swipe it at you horizontally. When he does that, as soon as the sword goes over his left shoulder, and he kind of lunges forward towards you, you parry. And as soon as you parry, it will connect with him swinging his sword around. That's the first one. That's number 1. Number 2 is a little bit trickier because you have to wait. He's going to raise the sword up in the air on his right side above his head, and then he's going to slowly bring it down towards you onto your left side like he's going to chop you in half. That one, you have to tap left and then parry. So as soon as he brings his sword down, you tap left and parry, and you will go into the parry box. And you'll see me do it. Then the last one is the one that you're going to see the least often, and why I'm going to associate it with number 3. So you might hear me say number 3. If I go, oh, he did number 3, that's number 3. And what he's going to do is he's going to take his sword in both hands and lift it all the way up in the air, and he's going to lift his right leg up. And it's going to be a very drawn out motion, and it's going to be a very delayed parry. But as soon as he brings his sword down, parry. And that will knock him back. Now this guy, the challenge with him is his parry timings are easy to learn and get used to, but it takes 2 parries to get 1 repost off him. That's the challenge. So all the other guys you saw me, I parried them and I can immediately repost them. Not this guy. This guy, as soon as I parry him, I have to parry him 1 more time. He staggers back and he'll bend down to 1 knee, and then he'll immediately get back up and start attacking. Now, I described the 3 parries that you're going to see, but there's a couple other things that he does. 2 things. 1, he turns his sword red, and he swings it around himself 3 times. It's a 3 swing attack, so it takes 3 dodges to dodge it. And the second swing is delayed, and it takes a second to figure it out. You're most likely going to die to that attack until you get the timing down. So the timing is you dodge immediately. As soon as you see a sword turn red, just dodge immediately, and then you wait a second because he's going to spin the sword around his entire body first. And then once it spins around his entire body, you roll twice immediately. And so I'll show you the timing. It's going to take you a second to learn it. And it's not an option. You have to dodge it. When his sword turns red, it is unparryable. And not only can you not parry it when it's red, but you cannot block it at all. So when his sword turns red, it is dodge time. You cannot block or stand in front of it because it does disturbing damage. It'll go straight through any shield in the game. So do not try and block his red sword swipes. Let's get rid of all these bulls first. And then the second one is a shield bash. He will take his shield. You can see it's a very, very telegraphed attack. Man, come on, stop it. It's a very telegraphed attack. And he's going to take his shield and slam it down on the ground. Now there's two different shield attacks. One, he slams it down on the ground, and he just picks it back up and puts it on his back. But the second one, he slams it down on the ground, and if the shield glows red, step away because a little explosion is going to go off. And if you're anywhere near it, it'll do some serious damage. So those are the two moves that we cannot parry or do anything about. We have to dodge or block them. So because of that, I'm going to actually... Oh, he has a grab. I totally forgot about that. So he does have a grab attack. He can grab you. And it's a delayed roll. So he's going to very slowly lift up his hand, lift up his leg, and then he's going to swipe for you. You have to roll at the last second, and that also is going to take some practice. And so like I said before, I want to put on this one for having a light load. I want to be able to roll around and stuff and dodge his attacks easily, so that's why I'm going for a light load. Not going to worry about stamina because we're not going to be attacking him too much. We're only going to be swinging at him when we do our reposts. So I'm going to show you how to parry this guy, and that's the only way I'm going to show you how to beat him. You're going to have to figure out how to parry him because you need to learn how to parry. I refuse to let you guys go through this game without learning how to parry. It was a big mistake on my part. I should have done it my first playthrough, and so hopefully if I show you guys how to do it properly and you guys do it with enough practice, you guys will get this down. So this is one of the easier enemies to learn how to parry on. So let's go ahead and let me show. One other thing is if you back away from him, if you stay close to him, he'll only do the moves that I described. But if you back away from him to a certain distance, he's going to turn his sword red and throw it at you. And it is going to do some wide swipes, and it is going to levitate in the air and chase you down. And it is hard to dodge. So you do not want to create distance. If you think like, oh, I'm going to keep back a distance from him and shoot him with spells, will not work. He will catch up to you. He has a shield bash too that closes the distance very, very disturbingly fast. So it's always best to stay close to this guy, even if you're not parrying him. But here is our first bell-bearing hunter. That's parry number 3. I can't believe he just did that. This is parry number 3, parry number 1. Now we can repost him. So we're going to try and coax him out of the shack. So I'm going to dodge a few hits. So, oh, I was too far away, and he sent his sword after me. And it's super hard to dodge. So I'm going to try and get him close to me. He's probably going to do his shield bash. Nope. Or his sword swipe. Oh, I got hit. Oh, that's bad. Come on, dude. Swipe. Okay. All right, we're good. That's the 1, 2, 3. That's the one that you cannot dodge. That's number 1. And he hasn't done number 2 yet. Here's his grab attack. You have to roll at the last second. Number 1. So he hasn't done number 2 yet. The slow one that you have to step left on. Let's see if he does it here. Nope. Dodge. 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 Dodge the shield slam. It turns red, explodes, and then walk back up. There's number 2. That's number 2. You have to press left into it. Roll at the last second on his grab. Dodge the shield. Wait for the explosion. And left and parry. Stay close to him. Dodge the shield. For the explosion. Walk back up. This one, I forgot to explain. You just gotta step around him. You don't want to be in front of it when it goes off. It'll kill you. So tap left, parry, parry. Those are the 2 easiest ones that he's going to do most often. I can't believe he did the other one. I'm glad I got to showcase that, so. Parry. Parry. And you can hit him as he's getting up to do some extra bleed buildup. Oh, he caught me. That's not good. Okay, didn't die. Might die though, because he's probably gonna. Okay, we're good. messy. Parry. Parry. And stepping left on that slow swipe really helps you connect with the parry box. Like that. If you just stand still, you might miss it. So I locked onto a sheep there. So just step around him when he does this, and he'll completely miss you. You just gotta roll at the very last second. Man, he is being stubborn. Man. Come on, man. And give him one charged attack, should do it. There's the Bell-Bearing Hunter. That is the first enemy I want you to learn how to parry on. And we're going to fight many, many more of him. And for that, we get the Bone Beddler's pairing, which means we can buy thin beast bone and heavy beast bones now. But unfortunately, we're still going to be attacking any sheep that we see for quite a while because they're expensive. Very, very expensive. So we're getting pretty close to a level up. So just 2,000 away. So because of that, we're going to go over to that field and just take out a couple of these Vulgar Militiamen so we can level up. That is what we're going to be doing a lot in this game. So go ahead and switch all my weapons back over. I'll showcase the Uchi Katana in the next fight here. I'm going to go upgrade it to level 3. Put my turtle shield back on for my stamina. Okay. So now we go ahead and sit down, and that will bring back up our buddy. There he is. So it wasn't him. It's these the bell-bearing hunters. They kind of they hunt people, and they need to be dealt with. So go ahead and learn how to parry on that guy. And I know you're gonna struggle, and it's gonna not seem worth it. If you really, you just can't get it down, it's just discouraging you. You don't even want to play. You're not having fun. Please take a break and come back to this boss later. But when you come back to him, learn how to parry him. There's another boss by the end of this episode that we're also going to parry. So it's a skill that you're going to have to get used to, and no matter how much I show it to you, no matter how much I explain it to you, you're not going to get it until you start doing it. But once you do, I promise it will make some fights in this game so much more manageable and so much more easy. Let's go ahead and make it nighttime as always so that we can sneak up on these guys. We're just going to repost maybe about 5 of them so that we can get some runes for our level up and get some runes for our upgrades for our weapon. So remember, it only knocks them down just a little bit, and then you got to hit them a couple times. So since I upgraded this to level 2, now it's just taking a few swipes to take them down. And then eventually we'll be able to take these guys out in one hit. They are what gamers call glass cannons. So they don't have a lot of defense and they're easy to take out, but man, they do some damage. These guys hit you, especially with one of their critical hits, you are dead. Also, last episode I'd mentioned that we were going to trick that Knight Rider down there on the bridge into dying. And I didn't have the gold pickled foulfoot because of I said that there was a merchant I was supposed to buy that from. I figured out which merchant it was, and I changed the pathing in the strategy guide compared to what I was doing in the files that I was preparing for notes. And I had talked to an NPC that gives me the gold fed, or I can buy it from. And so we haven't seen him yet, and that's why I don't have it. So as soon as we see that NPC, we're going to come back and trick that knight into dying. And the reason why is because, like I said, there's multiple of those guys in the game that we're going to fight fair and square, and they're not the hardest ones. The one that we're going to trick to jump off the bridge, it's not the hardest one in the game. There are much harder Knights Cavalries than him, so we will have much more challenges. I promise you, all of the bosses that we're doing for rune dumps and that we're going to beat in unfair ways, we're going to fight harder versions of them. So I promise you, I'm not cheating anybody out of any challenge in this game. You will get to experience all the brutality, I promise. So I'm just going to go up and take out these guys all the way up to the birds because I want to farm for their feathers, and then we're going to go back to the smithing table and buy some stuff. Oh no! So I missed the repost, so because of that it just did a regular attack. So if you're not at the right angle when you go to do a repost, then that will happen. You'll just do your regular attack. You have to be inside the box, which is, excuse me, either directly behind them or directly in front of them. Like so. So I have to be directly behind it to get the box to connect. As you can see, I was to the side a little bit, and that's why instead of connecting to the repost, I just attacked him. So that was what it's supposed to do. But if you're at the side, then you won't get the repost box, and you'll just, yeah, you'll do that, and it's weird. So make sure you get the poison mushroom that was over there, because that's how we make poison pots, which are very vital for some bosses later in the game. That's beautiful how it just takes all three out at once. Now this freaks me out. I really hate big open ocean scenery like this. I feel like there's a monster that'll come out of the shadows and just grab me. It freaks me out. I hate big open spaces where you can't see anything like that. It just, yeah, terrifies me. And I know I said that I would stop at the birds, but I just can't help myself on the... I always feel like I can just get a few more runes and maybe attack a few more of these guys, see if I can get their saw. No saw. Of course, whenever you want something, you're never going to get it, you know, and then when you don't need it, you get 10 of them. That's how it usually works in games, but I'm just going to take out these last two guys with saws to see if I can get them. What? Knock it off. Is that a saw? Oh, man. Darn. It's always a bummer when you're trying to farm for a certain weapon or a certain piece of armor and they drop something and you're like, oh my gosh, is that it? And it's just something you already have and you're like, no. And that's good enough. Ooh, there's greaves and some kukris, so let's go and gonna upgrade the Uchi Katana for the fight that we got coming up. I was hoping to have one of those halberds to use for the fight coming up, but Uchi Katana will do just fine, so let's go ahead and do a level up. So yep, just trying to get dexterity up to 20. So I don't got to worry about it anymore. So one more level into dexterity. And then after that, we will start focusing on our other attributes hard. Another reason that I'm strengthening the Uchi Katana up is because I'm going to be using it later in the game. Much, much later, so might as well get it going now. Alright, that's all for now. And I cannot believe I got a longbow. That's awesome. So longbow has a mighty shot instead of barrage, which just increases the power of the shot significantly and the range too. So, and it knocks some enemies on their rear end. So it's a very, very good bow, especially to find at the beginning. So if you didn't get a hold of this bow and you found one of these, that'll do just fine. So, all right, we got that upgraded, and we're gonna go fight our next boss, which is also a nighttime boss. So we're gonna go back to here. And then we're going to turn to night, and we're going to come up over onto this ridge. It's right near where all those giants were walking around, where we had to fight, 4 or 5 of them at a time. So, yeah, it's real close to there. I can't help myself. I'm just going to go pick up some items real quick. I always feel like you can never have enough items. Oh, actually. Oh, that's right. We're supposed to go buy some arrows and stuff. I forgot. But actually, I want to see you.
Here to learn.
I think we have a few skills. Yep. Okay, so let's buy Endure. It's Warcry. This one. We'll buy Parry. I'm not going to buy Quick Step. We're going to get something that's a little bit similar to it. It's, unfortunately, it got nerfed recently, so it's not as good anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and just ignore Quick Step because I'm not going to use it through the entire playthrough. But I'll explain to you what it is and what it does. We'll get weapons that do have it innately on it. And I'm going to go ahead and purchase this last one from him. So we've cleared everything out that we need from Burn all. Thinking maybe I should just buy just so I have it. Yeah. This is a 100% walkthrough. Might as well just do everything 100%. So, until we meet again. So let's go, and we're going to put Holy Blade, or Sacred Blade, I should say, on our katana. I will show you what Unsheath does after this boss fight. But first, the only bad thing about this boss fight, unfortunately, is we get no summons. We are all on our own, so. But it is super unbelievably weak to Holy, so it should go down in just a few hits with some holy pots and holy spells, so don't be too concerned. But it is a little bit of a pain in the butt, and we gotta try and stay away from the bats. Unfortunately, you can only bring this guy out at night, and unfortunately, there's just a bunch of bats flying around that also come out at night, and it's just part of the game that we gotta deal with it, and all those sheep down there, so it might take us lock off. So it's better to not lock on when fighting this guy. Do not lock on. Just stay unlocked from him and aim towards him. So remember, if you're not locked on, your attacks and projectiles are gonna go whichever direction your character is facing. So he's gonna spawn right here where that blue beam is, and we're gonna try and coax him back up into here and stay away from the bats that are flying around down there. So let's see if we can take him out as quickly as we can with our holy attacks. Oh man, I just wasted a pickled turtleneck. Alright, I'll give it a shot. I should have changed my flask to up my holy damage, but it's too late. Go ahead and make some holy pots. Man, don't need one more. Alright, we'll put on our fire pots too, but we'll throw the holy pots first. Drink this. Oops, do that. Buff myself. And then, alright. Alright, let's go. Here is our first death bird. Oh, I missed him. See how much damage that holy pot did? Dang it. Oh my gosh, that was just absurd. Go ahead and heal. Get my FP back up and give him a Sacred Blade to the face. Oh, I missed him. It's okay, we can go ahead and just start hitting him. Ooh, that builds up Death Blight. I'll tell you about Death Blight later. Alright, so you see how much damage that holy did to this bird? So you should be totally okay. Didn't even have to buff my holy for that. We get another talisman, and like I said, at the end of this episode I'll be going through all the talismans that we got and reading all the items and stuff, so I will explain all of this stuff. But we're not going to be using it anytime soon, so do not worry about it. Just another talisman with a neat effect that we'll go over in a little bit. Okay. That bird's down. And we're going to fight many, many more of those, and then they have the adult version, which is called the Deathrite bird, which are not fun. They are absolutely super annoying enemy. Okie dokie. Another boss off the list. Now we're going to head on down to our second parry boss. This guy's fun to fight, but he can be a little nerve-wracking at sometimes, so go ahead and go to Stormhill Shack. I'm going to go ahead and take off the Sacred Blade on this so I can show you Unsheath. So undo enhancement. And this has Unsheath on it already, but as you can tell, I can come down here and put Unsheath on and change what it scales with. So if I wanted it to scale more with dexterity, or if I wanted to put, status effects on it, then that's the point of putting the same Ash of War on a weapon that already has it on there. But what we're going to do is leave it with Unsheathed. I'm just going to showcase what this does. So there's two different attacks. There's the regular light attack and then the heavy charge downward swipe. The regular goes sideways. So the first thing you do is you press the skill button. If you hold it down, it'll keep the sword inside. And then at any point, if you just press light attack, It'll do that. It swipes at a good area. But then if you do it again, if you press strong attack, it does that. And that does some serious stagger damage. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what kind of stagger damage it does to this giant over here. And knowing my luck, I'll probably not stagger him once and nearly die, but we'll see. Usually it does just absurd stagger damage, which is, you know, unusual because the katanas are not a strike weapon. Usually only strike weapons with like hammers and stuff like that do strong stagger buildup, but for some odd reason Unsheath is just vicious with its stagger buildup. So let's go ahead and give him one. Oh. Give him two. I mean, look at the damage. Yeah, I missed. You stop. Why it's not staggering him? That's what I mean. Every time I say it's going to do something, it doesn't do it. Wow. I didn't stagger him once. Normally it does. Normally it builds up some pretty decent stagger damage. So use this on bosses and stuff. You're going to get a lot of reposts off. But yeah, couldn't stagger him once. I'm not too sure why. It's very weird. Okie doke. Let's go on down here. Let me heal my flask back up real quick. I knew I was going to have some trouble with that giant just because I wanted to showcase something. It wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to. My apologies. But let's go ahead and head on back down here by where all those sheeps were. Now I'm going to take out all the sheeps just to get some more beast bones. And so, if you're wondering about the poison poop pots that also poison the user, and you're wondering, you know, why in the world would you want to poison yourself? There is a talisman later on that increases your damage output when poison or rot is nearby. So you can literally poison the enemy and yourself, increase your damage, heal the poison, and now you have a buff on for poisoning yourself that is going to do some really good damage. And you can stack it with other buffs too, so people use it to get their damage output up in like the tens of thousands, which is insanely high for this game. Like some end bosses only have like nearly 30,000 health, so for one attack to do nearly 10 or 15,000, it's just, yeah, it's like half their health in one hit. So you can get the buffs to take you to some absurd levels in this game, but it's yeah, it's tricky. Some buffs don't stack with each other, and actually some buffs even cancel each other out. My gosh, I hate it when they do that. Knock it off. Getting agitated, these sheep dodging me. So anyways, some buffs actually can negate other buffs, and so I've seen people just putting buff after buff after buff on, and they're not realizing that, like, hey, you know, when you do that, it takes the other one off. You can't stack those. And I haven't really done a chart or anything yet of which buffs work well with which, but I know enough to show you guys some stuff that's going to help us get through the game. So I'm not going to be doing any of the tricky stuff where I'm going to, hey, show you how to buff up so hard you can take out this super intense boss in one hit. It's like, I'm not going to be doing anything like that. So, okay. Go on down to this Evergaol, and I'm going to introduce you to the Crucible Knight, and you're going to love these guys. I honestly do. I love fighting these guys. They're so much fun. So we're going to go ahead and head in, and just as with any Evergaol, we get time to actually prepare and do stuff. So it does not start until we actually walk up here, but unlike the other Evergaol, we are 100% alone in this fight. This fight's not easy, guys. This fight is going to take you a very long time, okay? It's get ready to struggle. So 85, this does 70, 86, yeah, just one more point, so I might even struggle. There's a chance that I might die, because sometimes this guy can catch me, sometimes he's tricky, sometimes I misread his attacks and his patterns, but let me go ahead and describe what we're about to fight. We're about to fight a Crucible Knight. Very much in the same manner as the Bell-Bearing Hunter that we just fought, only he's going to be holding a shield in his left hand and a sword in the right hand. This guy's much easier to parry because it only takes one parry to repost him. So every time we parry him, we get to give him a critical. He's a little bit faster, and he has many more parry openings. It would take me a minute to sit here and describe them all. So instead, you're just going to have to keep watching, and you're going to have to keep trying until you find his parry openings. What I will do is describe a few patterns that he has. He likes to stomp his feet. And when he stomps his feet, it causes the ground to break under you, and you'll take damage, and it'll lock you in place for a follow-up swipe with his sword. When he stamps his foot in the ground, all you have to do to avoid any of that damage and getting locked in place is literally just jump up in the air. Just a jump in the air and then come back down and you're safe. The tell for that is he's just slowly going to lift his leg up. You got to constantly be keeping your eyes towards his legs, because if he lifts it up, he's going to slam it back down. You need to jump before he does that. He usually follows it up with an attack that you can parry. You'll see like the first half of this fight, I'm just going to be standing next to him, jumping on his stomps and then parrying up his next attack. So this guy is also another good fight that's going to teach you how to parry. At about 50% health, he's going to slam his foot into the ground, but it's not a stomp. What's going to happen is a bunch of gold stuff is going to fly out of him, and he's going to sprout wings. He's going to fly up in the air and fly towards you. All you need to do is just right as he comes towards you, roll in any direction, and you'll dodge it. But at that point, now that he has broken those wings out, he now has a couple of more attacks that he can do. So he's in phase 2. And one of those attacks is a tail spin. He's going to create a dragon tail behind him that is not blockable. You can't block it, and you can't parry it. And he's going to do 1 or 2 swipes. If he does 1 swipe, it'll just hit you. Normally he follows it up with a swipe of his sword. But if it's 2, it's a little bit of a delayed roll, and if that second tail hits you, it will do some disturbing damage. So his tail swipes are really vicious. So at 50% health, that comes in along with the winged attack where he flies up in the air. So for the first half of the fight, I'm just going to stand right next to him and parry him. But then as soon as he slams his foot down and the gold shockwave goes off, that's when I'm going to start rotating around him. And I'm going to be circling him until he does an attack that I can parry. If I feel like I'm not in the range to parry the attack, I'm going to dodge it instead. So if you think like, hey, I saw you parry that attack, why'd you parry it there, not there? It's because I was at the wrong angle. And from experience, I knew that I wasn't going to reach the parry box. So, that being said, let's get to it. And like I said, this guy might even take me a few tries because he's not easy. He's not easy. Do not feel discouraged if you go down to this guy whatsoever. Do not be afraid to die, because he most likely is going to kill us a couple times. Done a foot stomp yet. Still hasn't. He's giving me easy pairings, but he's most likely going to do his... Oh, there's one. I messed it up. There's his gold one. Now he's going to grow wings, and we literally just roll as he comes down. But now we have to be rotating, because at any moment he can turn his tail out. And if he does, we need to be able to roll, because we can't block or parry it. So now that he's done that, I'm going to run away. I'm going to wait. And he can reach you. He's got some vicious distance on his sword. So I'm just going to be dodging. I was at wrong angles to catch those parries. So I'm just going to be dodging and running, because at any moment he can do his little special attacks, or he can pull his tail out and start swiping. So I'm just going to be constantly... Yep, so I was too far away. Oh, and there's the tail attack. So I was too far away to catch that parry. That's why I should have rolled that, but I thought I was close enough and I misjudged it. And so that's what happens if you don't get close to their hand. If you can't get to their hand like that, right there, then you'll see what happened in the last one is I just parried the tip of the sword and I took some damage from it. Okay, go ahead and roll as it comes down. And I'm so sorry. He has so many parry openings that the only thing I can really do is just keep showcasing different openings, and you guys are going to have to practice and figure it out yourself. I'm so sorry. You know, I wish I could give you some kind of tip that just makes you land every parry every time, but there's no way to do it until you guys practice and do it yourself. But I'm not going to show you any other strategy for this guy. You have to learn how to parry him. We're going to fight many, many more of them. And that is the Crucible Knight, guys. And that is how you're going to beat him. And we get his tail attack now for an incantation, but we're not able to use it for a very long time because it requires high faith. So, man, I wish there was something. I know you guys are going to struggle on this if you're learning how to parry. I mean, if you know how to parry and you've played previous Souls game and stuff like that, then it's just going to take you, maybe like an hour to get his parry timings down. But if you're new to parrying, I'm sorry, you got to suffer on that fight, or you're going to have to find another strategy guide that'll teach you a different way, because I want you to learn how to parry. It's going to be vital for other boss fights that we have coming up later in the game. Alright, so I remembered that last episode I forgot to take us down into this little valley here where the troll jumps down and all the guards are and stuff. I said we were going to go back there and get all the goodies, so I'm just going to go right down here real quick and clear everybody out, grab the goodies, fight the giant. And then we'll go crack a level up and do our next cave, which is a pretty short one. Very, very, very short one. The next ones coming up are actually supposed to be the caves that you started the game going into, so I'm taking you out of order, but it's okay. Where's that giant? Whoa, 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 guys! Where did you come from? Sneaking up on dudes like that? That ain't cool. Man, that scared me, guys. I just heard some toot 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 toot, and I was like, oh, what's that noise? Turned around, there's 3 guards in my face. Like, okay. Sneaky, sneaky. And see, like I said, there wasn't really anything over here just except like crafting materials and like a rune and some flowers. So wasn't anything important that we were really missing by bolting through here. I think that gold rune is like the most valuable item that there is here. Now the giant's gonna jump down. I've never actually seen if you can come out through this gate or not. Let's check. I just want to see if he can come out through the gate. I think he's too big. Yeah, he'll stop. Okay. Alright, you guys. Where are we at? Okay, so took down the Crucible Knight. Next caves we're going to do... Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry. We're actually going to go back over here. I'm going to probably save these caves for next episode. So we're going to go up to the Artist Shack, and we're going to go down into another Catacombs. And we're going to get a Spirit Summons that... Yeah, we're going to need to get our FP up to 100 so that we can summon him. But very awesome Spirit Summons. But let's go ahead and grab a few runes for a level up real quick. And I'm doing this to kind of get you guys into the habit of doing it. Before you move into a new area, take on a new dungeon, go into a new cave or anything like that, if you're close to a level up, like we are right now, we're just 3,000 away, so just 3 of these guys, 4. If you're close to a level up, stop and come and level up. Because if you go into the cave and you get, say you get to the boss even, and then you just can't beat the boss, your runes are trapped in there. You either have to keep coming back in and fighting the boss and picking up your runes every time, or they're just there and you're going to go through the game and die at some point, and you will lose those runes. And so it's always better to just, hey, real quick, let's go cap off and level up or spend our runes on some supplies, and then we'll go in with 0 runes, so that way we're not, we don't have anything at stake. Because the fact that the runes are not only your money, but experience points to level up as well, it just makes it that much more vital that you don't want to lose any of your runes. I mean, just imagine any other RPG if you're playing You know, I don't want to say any names of RPGs because, like I said, I'm new to this content creation stuff and I don't want to get in trouble. But say you're just playing another JRPG and it says like, hey, you died and you lose all your experience points and your gold, you're going to think twice about where you go and what you do before you spend all that stuff. But that doesn't happen in most RPGs. You know, you die, you still have all the experience points and your levels and your gold. On this one, you lose it all and you have to go find it. And then it just drops right where you die. And then after you find it, you have to, or if you don't find it, I'm sorry, and you die before you go find it, then it'll go down to 0. So if you have 1,000,000 runes and you die, those runes will be on the ground. And if you don't go pick them up before you die again, when you come back, they'll be gone forever. So very, 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 very important to just kind of, top off. Which is usually what I do. I usually go up to here, to the birds, and then stop. Because it gives me enough that I can get like 5,000-6,000 runes, and then I'll go buy supplies like poison arrows and all that other stuff. Any other goodies that merchants have that we need to start clearing out. This is how we do it. By the end of the game, we're going to have every merchant completely cleaned out of all their materials. We'll be stocked up on every single possible item that we can buy to use. So like every type of arrow that we can buy, every type of attack item, we'll stock up on everything. So that no matter what build you're using, we should have items and options available to help you guys get through the tough battles ahead. Just trust me, there are some tough battles ahead, that's for sure. If you thought this game was in any way, shape, or form difficult with what we've done so far, then you guys are in for some I don't know, heartbreak, I guess, because it gets worse. I'm not gonna lie, it gets much, much worse. Sometimes unbearably worse. Oops, shouldn't have gone there. Should have gone to the merchant. Apologies. So, like I said, I just like to start at one merchant, buy a couple items, go to the next one, buy a few more. Just kind of spread it out. It adds up. You know, at first it seems really slow, but then after a while you're like, oh wow, I have 400 daggers, and yeah, it helps. So, let's go ahead and bust that dex to 20. So now that dex is at 20, I don't touch it. I'm not going to touch it again for the rest of the game. Now I'll be going 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So just 2 and then 1 down across the board until I get these two up to about around 20-ish, and then I'll take it easy on them and I'll start focusing on getting vigor up to 60 and getting my attack attributes up to 40. So, but now our dexterity is where we're going to have it for pretty much the rest of the game. And if I switch over to the dexterity side, then I'm going to have my strength at 20, and that's where I'll leave it. So, not touching the other side of it ever again.
Always a pleasure.
I'll buy 20. So, like I said, I'm not going to be using bolts. And when we do, we're not going to be shooting them with regular bolts. We're going to be using different ones. You don't need this torch because we already got a torch, and the torch that we have actually does something really awesome, which I will showcase to you. Like I said, I'm not trying to overwhelm you guys with information and stuff like that, kind of because I got overwhelmed when I first started going through this game, and I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed, so I'm going to be giving you guys things just as we encounter them. So we'll get to the point in the game where we have to do a thing or we need an item and stuff like that, and then at that point I'll explain it to you guys, because I feel like if I try explaining it to you now, it's just not going to make any sense and it'll overwhelm you. So if you're like, hey, why didn't we go over that thing that we picked up, it's because it's for another episode. I promise we will. I'll go ahead and buy this now, so I don't gotta worry about it later. I'll buy 15 of these. Actually, I'm just gonna buy 5. I'll spend more money on the poison arrows. Sell my faded herb leaves. So like I'm selling these faded earlies because we're not going to use them to make any items that we need right now. We'll fight him in the next episode. And also we are going to pick up a trillion more of them. So always sell your faded Erd leaf. Oh, he's gone. It's nighttime, so in case you couldn't tell, that merchant's gone. It's a bell-bearing hunter, like the one that we just fought a little while ago. So this bell-bearing hunter is the hardest bell-bearing hunter in the game, and we're going to cheese him. Well, I'm going to show you guys how to parry him, you know, just like I did the other one. But then when I get him down to about 20% health, we're going to jump up on the roof of the shack and shoot him in the face with arrows from a safe distance, because he drops a lot of runes, and we'll do that in the next few episodes. So let's go ahead and pass it to me until our merchant comes back. That's so weird. This shouldn't happen. Not sure why he's not back yet. I guess you gotta stand up and sit back down. It's really interesting. Okay, let's buy some potions.
Unusual this.
And we don't need to duplicate any ashes yet, but when we do, we'll come back and grab these two. But literally, going to just buy 20 arrows. Oh, buy an arrow. Every single one adds up. Leave us with 2 runes. Alright, now we're going to go down and fight a pretty difficult boss. A good one to end the episode on. So, remember this place where we got that painting puzzle? And I remember, if you remember in the previous episode, we encountered some bears down here, and I said we're going to come back down this way. So, this is the time. So like I promised, we're going to go over every single inch of this game. I swear it. Ooh, big yo. Oof, I hate these guys so much. Yeah, that's right. Caught him. Sorry, bears. Rest in peace. The hefty beast bones are what you use to make big, great arrows for great bows. They're slower, but more powerful than light bows, obviously. So go ahead, and here's the area that I said we were going to come back to. Take out the bears. And the sword is very, very vicious. Okay. Picking up all this stuff. Once I get one of those vulgar malicious saws that has blood loss, and we get the get a certain Ash of War in the next continent, like the next landmass area, then I'll be switching from this Bloodhound's Fang over to that. But until then, yeah, it's pretty good. So, Spirit Spring, go ahead and jump down on in here. We got a bunch of slugs that require fire to be taken down, and a bunch of skeletons that are gonna pop up. And then, of course, leave the jellyfish alone. They're not hurting you. They're not gonna hurt you. They're not aggroed. So just go ahead and stay on torrent. Take out the skeletons. Okay. So just go ahead and ignore the slugs. They only drop like 10 runes a piece, and they take forever to kill because they're only resilient to, or they're only weak to like fire and blood loss. So you can bleed them. Watch, I'll show you. And there's the bleed. Just took them down, but just yeah, it's more trouble than it's worth, and he only gave me like 10 runes. You can get the dragonfly heads. Go ahead and do that, but otherwise just head on over here, ignore the slugs, and come open this door. So I'm going to show you some parry openings for the boss in this Catacombs, but I don't expect you to parry him. I expect you to use the dogs in a medium shield, but he is very, very, very parryable. So I might parry him a couple times just for some fun, but then I'll also have the dogs out. Well, no, because he's not going to give you enough time to summon the dogs. You really have to do your summons right at the start of the fight, because the boss is going to charge you. And if you try and do it in the middle of the fight, it'll leave you vulnerable, and the boss will probably attack you. So go ahead and bust out your medium shield here, though, because we got some of the most annoying enemies in the game coming up. and the reason that we need daggers and projectiles is to pull these guys out. These guys have blood loss. They're very fast and agile. They're very annoying. They're gonna pop up throughout the entire game. You just gotta learn to deal with them. That's all we can do. So you're gonna come right around here, and directly on the right is a stone statue. Start swinging at it. One's gonna drop down and kind of crawl towards you. There's another one up there, so just wait. Wait till he comes towards you and block. Now he has blood loss on his weapon, so even if you block it, it's gonna build up your blood loss meter, so you might take some bleed if you don't pay attention to that, but otherwise it should be fine. They like to throw projectiles. Oh shoot, didn't mean to do that. They like to throw projectiles. You knock him down with a projectile, then he'll be staggered on the ground. You can go up and whack him. So you can block with the shield with the projectile, and it will not do any damage. Now this is a trap. If you step on it, it's going to shoot fireballs out of the steps over there. But if you get them in front of it, and then you step on it, you can get them to actually get hurt by the trap. Like that. So I didn't even touch that guy. He just happened to be standing in front of the trap. See if you can just coax him over here. Just trying to get him to come out a few steps. There. Just hold the block on your shield and wait for that to go down. As long as you're blocking, it's not going to do any damage. I'm just trying to get him to... There we go. There we go. And wait for that to come back up. There we go. And there's going to be one more. Jumps right up out of the corner, so just keep your shield up high. And you will be fine. So, and you can see the little holes right here. That's where the trap is. Let's go ahead and pull the lever. Just like every Catacombs, there's always a lever. And it'll say somewhere a heavy door is opened. And then, of course, walk around the trap so it doesn't hurt you. And down here is another one. You can see those guys right there, so go ahead and just throw a little... and so the fire is going to come from behind us, right there on those stairs. See the holes? So just go ahead and aggro them so that they come towards us. And then... step on that. Step back. Oh, good lord. Oh, man. So I got bled there, fortunately. You saw how much damage it did. You see how agile these guys are? They like to roll around and throw stuff. Yeah, so very, very annoying enemies. And there's still one more in here, I think. So keep your shield up. And that is that. Grab this grave glovewort right here, and we're gonna head on down to the boss. So yeah, definitely need your shield out for this fight, or for this Catacombs, I should say. Should have turned that on. So I'm gonna wait. We're gonna fight many more of these guys, and once you learn how to parry, I'll show you how to parry them. So I changed my mind. I'm not gonna show you how to parry this guy because we need to summon the dogs as soon as we come in. He has 2 hammers. He's a very big, beefy dude, so he seems like he's slow, but he's not. He's actually very fast. He can chase you around the arena very quickly for his size. The hammers are connected to chains, so he can swing them at a distance and still clip you with them. If you roll into the chain, you should be clear of any hitbox if the hammer is behind you. But you just overall just want to keep away from him when he's swinging his hammers around. I recommend blocking and then just doing counter returns, but he will poise through most of what you do. So remember, his poise is just when you hit him, if he's in the middle of an attack animation, it's not going to stop that attack animation. He's going to continue it, and he's going to hit you too. So you don't want to trade blows with this guy because he will win. He is very, very strong. So immediately as soon as we come in, we're going to summon the dogs and make sure the dogs get his attention, and then just like we did with the Black Knife Assassin, we're going to attack him while he's fighting the dogs. It's a little bit unfair, but it's part of the game. We're going to have tons of fights that will be unfair for us, so don't worry. Everything we're doing is pretty much on even keel, but don't try and power up the dogs. We're going to go ahead and power ourselves up right here. Don't try and do it as soon as you come in because you're going to summon the dogs, and then this guy's going to be on us, like immediately on us. So come in, summon the dogs. Oh no. Oh, I didn't have enough FP. Oh, jeez. I did not have enough FP to summon the dogs. Messed that up. Well, I'm going to go ahead and parry him then. Oh, messed up. Okay. Let me show you guys his parry timings. My apologies, guys. Go ahead and summon the dogs, and just, while he's fighting the doggos, see, like right there, the chain, it didn't hurt me because I was behind it. So, anyways, summon the doggos, and then while he's fighting the doggos, you're just coming up behind him, and you're giving him strong attacks and jump attacks. There's that parry for that one. That one is a delayed parry. When he flips his hammer, you gotta wait until he actually brings it back down. So, my apologies, guys. I didn't have enough FP to summon the doggos, and if I tried to, he would have tooled me up. So, fortunately, I had to show you how to parry that one. But if you summon the dogs, and you just go ahead and fight him when he's focusing on the dogs, and give him some slashes with this sword, or whatever weapon you're using, you should do just fine. I really apologize about that. That did not work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm just checking around to see if there's any root resin, but there's no root resin in this one. So let's go ahead and head on back to the entrance. And that knight, the spirit ash that we got, knight, I forgot his name. He's an awesome summon. Unfortunately, we need 100 FP to be able to summon him, so we gotta up our mind a couple of levels before we can use him. But once we do, yeah, he's an awesome summon. He's gonna help us get through some really stupid parts of the game. These things are annoying. And what now? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop here, and I'm gonna read the items for the stuff that we picked up real quick, and then we're going to continue on down the lake. So right here there's an invasion, and then there's a cave, and we get to meet a new NPC. We meet 2 new NPCs, and then we're gonna fight the Knight Rider on this bridge. We're gonna come down here, we're gonna fight this boss right here that I've been putting off, and I didn't want to spoil it for you because it's awesome. Then we're gonna go in, clear out these 4 dungeons. There's a tunnel right here, these 2 caves, or these 2 caves and a catacombs. We'll clear that out, and then we are completely done with this part of Limgrave, and we will be moving on into the Weeping Peninsula. And then just from top to bottom, we're just going to go through, take out all the bosses, clear out the towns, grab all the items, beat all the bosses, take out all the caves, and then once we're down to here, we can start our first Legacy dungeon. So we are starting to get through the game, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and just read some of the stuff that we've been picking up. Let's see, what's new? Nothing new on that side. We got this new knight, so check this out. Yeah, Banished Knight and Engval. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirit of Engval, the Banished Knight. Of the 2 knights dubbed the Wings of the Storm, despite his banishment, he rejected the invitation of the grace-given Lord, instead keeping watch over a masterless castle for many years, gaining renown as a hero of the fringes. Interesting. I don't think there's any new items we picked. Oh, toxic mushroom. Mushroom covered in a toxic mold that grows in rotten lands. A skilled hand can repurpose its toxic mold into an effective ward against scarlet rot. I read all this stuff. Ooh, got a Miquela's lily. A delicate water lily of unalloyed gold that has started to fade and wilt. Exceedingly rare to find. A flower signifying faith in the Halig tree, though it thought to be beloved by the Empyrean Miquela in his youth. So Miquela is a character that we'll get to know soon. Faintly luminescent moss that grows in dark caves. A fundamental ingredient in medicinal bosses. A small clump of sharp pointed stones, material used for crafting items. Such compound stones, found in lands once beset by ancient dragons, are said to be the scales of those very beasts. Got smithing stones, didn't pick up any tears, got a ritual pot. This empty pot somehow mends itself when broken. Special item with greater durability than a cracked pot. Essential vessel for crafting ritual pot items. The materials and magics sealed within deploy their effects when the pot is thrown. Got Dragon Heart. Dragon Heart seized by a dragon tracker. Riddled with gravel stone, this grotesque organ continues to beat vivaciously. An offering used in the dragon communion, consume a dragon's heart at the altar to make its power yours. While a terrible and savage-looking thing, the heart has a peculiar beauty to it. And so we'll get into turning these in for dragon incantations in another episode. So we got the left medallion from the fort. Actually, we got both these from the fort. So both these medallions put together is going to turn on a lift later on in the game. So let's go ahead and read these. Right half of the split medallion depicting the Erd Tree. Brandishing the medallion with both halves conjoined will activate the Grand Lift of Dectus, connecting to the Atlas Plateau to Lernia. The left half is said to reside in the coastal fort Height to the far west. And then this right half is said to be in Fort Farof in the Dragonbarrow far to the east. And I believe that should be... Oh, we got a bone peddler's bearing. Bell bearing of an unfortunate bone peddler who was slain by the bell-bearing hunter. Offer to the Twin Maiden's husk at the round table to gain access to the following items. So it'll allow us to buy that stuff. So we're going to do that in another episode. I'm actually going to end by turning in that scroll, because I forgot to do that. Oh, we got these. Yeah, I read both those already. So, one of the ancient Erd Tree incantations. Create a supple tail that sweeps through foes before the caster. Charging enhances potency. This is a manifestation of the Erd Tree's primal vital energies, an aspect of the primordial crucible, where all life was once blended together. Now remember, we read about the primordial crucible in these little things. See? Perhaps they are vestiges of the primordial crucible. So this is where you put together the story, is from these item descriptions. It's the reason that I'm reading these. Incantation taught by Garank, the beast clergyman, swiftly flings a number of sharp rock shards. This incantation can be cast without delay after performing another action. It is said that in time before the Erd Tree, stones were the first weapons of the beasts who had gained intelligence. Release poison mist before the caster. This incantation can be cast while in motion. Those who dwell within poison... I think I read this already. My apologies. And that should be it for the episode. Most of the Ashes of War are just descriptions of what the Ash of War does. Very, very rarely do they have any lore in them, which is why I'm not reading every single one that we pick up. Oh, short sword given to the high-ranking clergyman of Farm Azula raises potency of bestial incantations. The design celebrates a beast's 5 fingers, symbolic of the intelligence once granted upon their kind. Curved sword with thin blade of ample length, light of weight despite its larger size. Its slicing attacks come in rapid succession. A devastatingly powerful weapon in the hands of a skilled swordsman. Curved greatsword with a gently undulating blade wielded by bloodhound knights. A fearsome blade capable of brutal airborne attacks. A katana with a long single-edged curved blade. A unique weapon wielded by the samurai from the land of reeds. This blade, with its undulating design, boasts extraordinary sharpness, and its slash attacks cause blood loss. I think that might be everything. Oh, do we read this? Sacred Seal, granted by Garank the Beast Clergyman. A rare trinket which allows incantations to be scaled with strength. The claw mark represents Garank's wrath. Enhances bestial incantations learned from Garank. That's the big dude that was like, feed me more. Arrow serpents, loyal minions of the formless serpents. Their fangs are daubed with deadly poison. Excuse me. Okay. A torch which burns oil infused with a special incense. This aroma pacifies wild beasts. Torches such as these were used to keep unwelcome beasts away from treasure troves hidden in caves. I'm going to show you what this does in a second. We already read through all these. I think we already wrote. Gauntlets worn by lean, mean, and filthy militiamen. Freshly singed battlegrounds infusing with the stench of the dead. Forbidden lands that will be excised from the memory of history. This is where the vulgar militia serve, and as untiring, unsung watchkeepers. Kind of sad, actually. It's the same thing for all of their different armor and their stuff that we pick up. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this one. This is the one we picked up with that knife behind the Beast Clergyman's sanctum. This increases physical damage negation. So, wrought iron talisman depicting an ancient dragon boosts physical damage negation. The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era before the Erd Tree would protect their lord as a wall of living rock. And so it is the shape of the dragon has become symbolic of all manners of protections. Wow. Well, I guess it's the same thing on that one. My apologies. This just raises, attack power for not just arrows, but for projectiles, like knives and stuff like that. A cloth doll depicting a dancer garbed in blue, an ancient heirloom of some sort, raises attack power with lower equipment load. The dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was wrought itself. So not only does this increase your damage output the lower your equip load is, but it also increases the damage your weapon does the lower your weapon is upgraded. So if your weapon is at base and you haven't upgraded it, it's going to do more damage. It's going to get more of a buff from this talisman than it would if it was at like plus 25 or maxed out. So the less stuff you have, the less weapons you're holding, the less weight, the more damage increase you're going to get from this Blue Dancer charm. It's very cool. A talisman adorned with blue feathers, once used in ancient death rituals, raises defense when HP is low, which isn't very helpful. The heart sings when one draws close to death, and thus does one cling so tenaciously to life, to render up a death worth offering. There's a sister one to this that's red, and that increases your attack power when you're at 20%. That's good for if you have a boss memorized and you know how to fight them flawlessly, you're not going to take a hit. You go ahead and just lower yourself down to 20% health, and then this talisman will raise your attack power by 20%. But if you take one hit, you're probably going to die. An assassin's dagger, misshapen and stained in crimson. Critical hits restore HP. So, I completely forgot. If you want to, and if you're struggling with the Bellbearing Hunter and the Crucible Knight, put this on. This is the talisman that we got for defeating the Black Knife Assassin. Put this on, and every time you do a critical hit, it will restore a chunk of your HP. So you can actually sit there and maybe get through the fight, because every time you get a repost off, you're going to get healed a little bit. And it's a pretty good chunk of health, too. So at this point in the game, it actually might, keep you alive in the fight. So if you're struggling and you can't find time to heal because you keep getting hit and he's too fast, put this on. And every time you get a repost off, you will get some health back. The charm is modeled after the darkly gleaming blade used in the Knight of Black Knives, those which gave the demigods their first taste of death. This legendary talisman is an eye engraved with an Elden rune said to be the seal of King Consort Radagon. Greatly raises vigor, endurance, strength, and dexterity, but also increases damage taken by a similar measure. Solemn duty weighs upon the one beholden, not unlike a gnawing curse from which there is no deliverance. You guys, we got a rune arc. A shard of the shattered Elden ring grants the blessing of an equipped great rune upon use. Even if no great rune is equipped, it will slightly increase maximum HP upon use. The arc of the Elden ring is held to be the basin in which its blessings pool. Perhaps this shard originated from that very arc. These are vital, very important. We're only going to find about maybe 60, 70 of these in the game. This is how we turn on our great runes, which are going to be in this box right here when we equip them. So they're very, very awesome. But that is where we're going to leave it for the day, guys. Thank you so much for choosing my series to get through the lands between. It means the world to me. I love taking you guys through the game and showing you guys what I know. And if you got any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I don't think anybody can message me on YouTube, so please just leave any question in the comment. I'm not a big enough page that it's going to get buried. I'm going to see everybody's comment, and if I don't know the answer to your question, I promise you I'll find the answer to your question, because there's nothing I love more than finding out more stuff about this game. It's my favorite game on the planet, so this is just nothing but fun for me. And I'm just going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back and make the next episode. So I love doing this, and it means the world to me. Anybody that stopped by and used it, if you got any use out of this guide, That's all I could ever ask for. That makes me just happy to think about. So, yeah, until the next one, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, because I love you guys. All right, see ya.